Who earned a big-time role, or big-time chance, I should say. At Broncos Rookie Minicamp, we're here to talk about it today. This is Orange and Blue today. Cecil, Lammey, Andrew, Mason, and we, Mace, are live for the people out there.
We're live. We're live. I think we're live for the next 3 days, basically, because things are happening, and we're going to be double live today. So just fasten your seatbelts on that, so stay tuned. But, yeah, interesting, some roster moves today. And if you paid attention and you really listened to everything we said in our OBT late night after dark show on Saturday, one of the guys we did talk about appears to be here to stay, at least to stay through the next few weeks and perhaps through training camp, because a guy who made some plays on Saturday is sticking around.
Yeah, sticking around, and we are here to talk about Kyrese White and other rookie minicamp observations. And Mace, it was maybe somewhat surprising because they didn't sign any of the tryout guys last year. But this year, they changed their tune and make a few transactions. Thomas Yasmin, who a lot of people talk about, he's now gone, and some other transactions here. But yeah, Kyrese White is the player, the Utah State kid we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, Kyrese White. I mean, first of all, when you look at him, you can't miss him because, I mean, you saw the slide there at the top of the show. You see the hair. And actually, when you see the hair coming out of the back of the helmet and you see number 43, of course, who do you think of? You think of Troy Polamalu, right? Mm-hmm. You see that different position, obviously, but when you see that kind of, form, and even a guy who's not tall, he's 5'10". So you see somebody bounding around and looking like that. Of course, that's what goes through your mind, even though you're talking about a wide receiver rather than a safety, but just getting open and catching everything. I mean, so it's hard to not get noticed when you keep making plays. And when you see someone like him and you say, okay, he's from Utah State. So here's somebody who got lost in the shuffle last year, even though it was the only time that he had a chance to show what he could do. He's been in the college ranks for 6 years, 3 years at Utah, then transferred to Utah State. He had only 3 receptions before last season. He finally gets an opportunity, but it's an opportunity as wide receiver too, because of course, Jalen Royals, a guy who was, went relatively early in the draft, got all the attention. So not much left for Kyrese White, but did get some opportunities there. You see his stat line for last year, 44 catches, 526 yards, and 3 touchdowns over the course of the season. And then, of course, at the pro day earlier this off season, 4.56 on the 40 time. So not bad, but I mean, as we talked about with Pat Bryant, of course, coming out of Illinois, it's not what you run, it's how fast, how quick you look, and how you move out there when you're actually playing football. And certainly, I think Kyrese White looked a lot quicker and faster than that number would have shown, the way he was getting open on Saturday.
And you can tell, Mason, we talked about it Saturday night, like when they're on a pro field and pro players, yes, most aren't going to make it or whatever, but like, this is different. This is a different level. It's saying Utah State anymore. And you can prove yourself with hands, concentration, quickness, and yes, even route running ability, not to the Pat Bryant levels.
Yes.
And boy, my man crush on Pat Bryant is growing. But either way, like you saw that White was able to make these plays and thus gets a shot.
And got a shot and not at the expense of any of the receivers too. So they liked what they saw enough from all of the wide receivers to not jettison any of them in order to keep Kyrese White. So that's another interesting thing too, that sometimes when you see these moves made, it's, oh, well, we liked this guy that we brought in, but we didn't like as a tryout guy, but we didn't like one of the players at the same position that we actually signed. So it's kind of a 1-for-1, but they kept all the wide receivers that they signed heading into the rookie minicamp. So this was a case where they're going heavy at wide receiver just because they want to see more from this guy. And that's really interesting too.
Yeah, that's interesting because, my God, Mace, imagine the competition that you're going to
Yeah.
see now at that position. And that's where training camp, it's going to show everything for this team.
Wide receiver, depth-wise with youth, it's pretty stacked. There's not going to be room, as my phone goes off in the distance, there's not going to be room for all these guys. That's the thing. We talked about it on Saturday. I think we can reiterate it now. Quality is going to get cut, and not just cut to where there's not room for it all in the practice squad. Remember last year and the year before, keeping around guys like Michael Bandy on the practice squad? No offense to him, but just somebody that had been around, knew how to get from A to B.
A River Craycraft floating around somewhere.
Yeah, somebody who you could put him out there on the scout team, could impersonate an opposing receiver, do that job pretty well, but wasn't necessarily going to be somebody that was going to develop into more than they were, right? The upside was relatively limited, but they could go out there and do the job in practice. Well, there's not really room for that type of player anymore, because now you've got such young talent around that the priority on the practice squad is going to be keeping those young guys to marinate them for a year and see where they go a year from now, and keep churning that. And look, we know this from Sean Payton, and he talks about the running back example, keeping Pierre Thomas and not keeping Antonio Pittman, right? Even though he won't say the name Antonio Pittman.
Right.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the pool from which he drew to get a player. Undrafted, 7th round. The status does not matter. He's looking for the best guy. Period.
Yep, and not always looking for the trees, as we mentioned with White, a smaller receiver, but certainly twitchy fast is what Randy says in the chat room.
Yeah, so you've got 2 small receivers there among the rookie crop, because you have Jerwan Newton out of Toledo, and now and now you have Kyrese White. So you've got 2 5'10", 5'11" type guys in that mix here. And then you, of course, have Courtney Jackson and you have Joaquin Davis, who are both longer guys. And then, of course, Pat Bryant, who you drafted. So you have some Sean Payton classic template guys, and then you've got guys who are more in the, if you're looking at the other Sean Payton template, the Brandon Cooks template. So something for everybody.
Mace, we've got something for everybody, because let's wrap this show and get to the second show. So if you're watching right now, just wait. We're going to start a second show that is about what just broke.
Breaking news.
Christmas Day. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But first, super quick, how do folks help us out on YouTube?
Like,
comment,
share,
subscribe,
hit that notification bell
so that you never miss a vid. He's Mace. I'm Cecil. We are going to be right back with another live Orange and Blue today. Keep it locked right here on our Denver Sports YouTube channel. And as always, stay frosty.